Everyone, it's Big Dave, and today's topic is understanding the meaning. What does a thing, an event, really almost anything in life, what's it mean to you? Tony Robbins teaches that the secret to understanding and having a great life is meaning and emotion. So much truth in this. I want to cover meaning. I want to cover your interpretation of what something means and how it's tied to an emotion, and then making sure you understand that you're doing that to yourself. One of the things that has always baffled me, or used to anyway, back when I was leading a company, and I would have an event, and there'll be multiple interpretations of what that event, all the way from that was amazing, and then other people leaving dejected. Well, why? How? How can that happen? How can there be an event and two people have polar opposites of a review of what happened, of an opinion of what happened? The answer is the meaning they gave to it. And then that transfers to the emotions they felt. Interesting, isn't it? Remember, the meaning you give something triggers your emotions. Your emotions control your life. So if you can control the meaning of something, you have a lot more control of your life. So let's get into this, the meaning of something, anything, an event, an asset, a thing, a person, an experience. The meaning of that and what you assign to the meaning of that 100% influences your emotions. When you start to really think about it, you have control over what the meaning truly is. Thus, you have control over the emotions you're going to feel. Now, this isn't something you just snap your fingers and boom, I understand and I can take this concept and make it a reality. That's not what I'm saying at all. An example of this is when someone cuts you off in traffic and you're driving, right? They cut you off and one person's going to give you the burn or you're going to give them the burn and the other person's going to laugh it off like, whoa, what the hell? That person must be in a hurry. See, right there is a great example of the meaning you assign something is going to develop the interpretation. If you believe that the meaning of that person cutting you off was them being a prick, you're going to get mad. If you are thinking of someone cutting you off being that they are just having a bad day, or the meaning is that they missed their turn and had to cut you off and they were in a bad position, or any other meaning, you start to reevaluate the emotions that you felt. Another example that happens, let's say in business, is you're working your tail end off, your team's doing everything they can, and then you don't hit your quarterly goal. One meaning that you assign to it in your brain is we're failures. We are failing. Head down. Oh my God, what do I do? Meaning you gave that as failure. The other person gets it, and the meaning is, all right, right now what we're doing isn't working, but we're going to find out what works. We're going to innovate, and we're going to still hit this goal because I know I can hit this goal. The meaning you gave to that triggers the emotion of how you go forward. And the difference between that is accepting failure and not, all by just the meaning you interpret to something. Isn't that crazy? Understanding this is crucial, but yet I want to give you another example. Let's say you've been in a relationship for a long time and that relationship felt for one person like the most amazing relationship ever, and to the other, it was a drag. So when the breakup happens, one person is dejected. The other person feels they have a chance at a new beginning because of the meaning they put on that event. One person felt stuck. One person was madly in love. Those meanings were drastically different. Doesn't make one person right or wrong. It has nothing to do with that. It's the meaning you associate with something. And so much of life, you can control what the meaning you associate it with. You can do that. I think I showed my Midwest because I ended with a preposition there. My Midwest upbringing. With. I feel like Will Ferrell right now. All right, let's move on. And when you really think about this, moving on from my humor, and you really think about meaning, it gets this deep, and it gets super deep, but it gets this deep. When you truly think about meaning and how you own what something means, you really start to understand that you're not reacting to life. You're not. I know you're going to sit there and go, what is he saying? You're not. You're reacting to the story you're telling yourself. Let me say that again. You're not reacting to life and life's events. You're reacting to the story you're telling yourself. That's the power and meaning once you understand that. There was a time in my career as I was building a company and head of the sales department. I think it was VP of sales at the time. And I was relatively new. So I had to be in the first year or two. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember. And we're on a growth trajectory and things are working. Like our system is working, and the system was creating new sales, and the system was creating new customers. The system was locking up existing customers, and the system was very much making existing customers more happy and allowing us to grow with them. So what we had built was working very well. However, what happened at that same time was we lost a huge account. And what happened there simply is that our competitor, who had some of the business or the majority of that business, made a huge play. And it was a play we couldn't compete with. And it didn't make sense for our competitor at the time. And our customer at the time, I had understood, but still a huge hit to us. So in the middle of building something and putting all this work, and it's working, and putting all this work in there, millions upon millions upon millions of dollars is gone. Now you just started this job. You're in the VP of sales for the first time. That's where I was. And now you got to figure out, what am I going to do about this? I could have went multiple ways. I could have had a meeting of, holy crap, it doesn't matter what you do in life. They're just going to take the stuff away. So that meant that it's not worth it. It's not worth trying. But that's not what I did. Instead, the meaning I gave that was, this is the chance to prove that the system we built works. This is the chance to prove that we can still grow despite major loss. And that's where we went. We were not going to allow ourselves to lose. The other part that I realized was that even though that this sucked, it wasn't failure. It was more like a feedback of what the market's doing and a feedback of what's transpiring. And how you respond to that feedback matters. So instead of it being something that destroys us, it's something that built us. And it's all because of the meaning I gave to it. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't like dejected and upset and like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I felt all of that. I felt all that pressure. I felt every bit of it. I felt all that stress, but quickly realized that what I was depicting as failure was opportunity, and put all my focus into overcoming that loss so that year over year, we still grew. And we did, because the meaning I gave it. I didn't allow the meaning of failure to stick very long. The meaning I gave it was, this is the shot and the opportunity for us to prove that the system really is working. And I knew it was working. This was our chance to overcome it. And we did it and still grew by a few $1 million plus replaced all those millions and millions that was lost. And that was all because of the meaning I gave to that event. The meaning my whole team gave to that event. Said differently, I stopped letting an event define me, and instead I was defining the event. So meaning that this failure wasn't going to be a real failure. It was going to be a way to improve our business. It was going to be a way to further diversify and to further become a much more secure company and outgrow that loss. You can use any type of event to your benefit. There's a saying out there is you never let a catastrophe go to waste because you can use it as motivation to finally move your organization into a new progress, into new areas, into things you haven't done, making you a stronger, better company because of the meaning you give something. If you give the meaning of failure and there's nothing you can do about it, your emotions breed failure, then your emotions tell you to do nothing and you do nothing and you just accept it. But if your emotions go, I am not accepting this as a loss, we are going to be better for this, you will be better for it because your emotions now are moving and driving you forward. If you control the meaning, you can control the emotions, and then you can control the direction of your life. It's a tough one to get and see all the way through. Once you connect those dots, the power is there. What you define the meaning to be. And a lot of people argue they don't have a choice. Yes, you do. What's that meaning? So for all of you that want to try this, let's give you like a 3-step way of trying to master this. Because there's a way to master it. People can and you can. You can right now. You can. You can. Follow these 3 steps. And the first one's this. You have to pause and notice the emotion you're feeling. If you're feeling anger, fear, if you're upset, if you're sad, disappointment, excitement, you first have to recognize that. Pause. Recognize you're feeling this stuff. Pause for a second and ask yourself this question. What meaning did I give this? That's an interesting question to ask. Because I'm sad, because I'm angry, because I'm happy, because I'm excited, what meaning did I give this to make me respond? Ask yourself that question. In the middle of it, ask yourself, what meaning did I give this? When you realize the meaning that you gave it, choose a meaning that serves you, that serves what you want. Don't choose a meaning that just dictates what your life's going to be. Choose a meaning that serves what you want. Well, I'm a big proponent of positive thinking, but not fake. If you've ever listened to anything I've ever said about positive thinking, it's about being real with yourself. I mean, so much of positive thinking gets a bad rap that because people think that you can say fake stuff, and that's just not true at all. That's not positive thinking. And it's the same truth within this. When you're owning the meaning of something, it isn't pretending it's positive. That's not it at all. It's choosing a meaning that moves your life forward, not a meaning that holds you hostage in some emotion. And you can do that. You can choose the meaning of what's there. When you consciously change the meaning, you basically take the steering wheel back and you take it back from being uncontrolled to control because you changed the meaning of something to you. And the, for instance, is in the example I gave you, I felt that failure. I felt that oh crap moment. I was like, shit. And I felt that stress. But I chose a meaning of what that meant that served me and my company and my team in order to move it forward. And that's the meaning I gave it. We can choose meanings for all of this, for everything, and have complete control over where we go in life. Because what happens right now is you feel something and you don't know why you feel that way, and it just is reactions. And you don't understand the meaning you put to something. And instead of understanding the meaning, you just let your emotions control you. When you have the power, you have the ability for you to control all those emotions by defining the meaning of what triggered you. It's deep. I know. It sounds weird. I know. But it's such a powerful thing that when you start to introduce it in your life, it's a very balancing feeling. It's a very, like nothing in life is 100%. We're human beings. We're gonna screw up. But the meaning you give to things can control so much of how fast you move forward into a good direction or backwards into a stalemate. So again, owning the meaning does not mean making crap up. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean lying to yourself. What it means is pick the meaning. I wasn't lying to myself when I said, this is an opportunity to prove the system works. That was the true statement. I chose that meaning. No matter what happens to you in life, you can choose the meaning. You can choose the direction. Thus, you can choose the emotions that are going to drive you. Thus, now you are in the driver's seat of your life, not your emotion. Thanks, everyone, for listening today. It was such a powerful yet quick little talk. And I am so excited for you guys to try it out and start to learn. If you have questions, please comment and we'll go through it together, because sometimes grasping these, even though you begin to understand, can be a little complex. You're not alone. We're here. All right. Talk to y'all later.